Oh, hey, here we are. I don't know what the heck was going on there. I don't know why it took so long. Let me do an audio check real quick. I was trying to get on stream here. Welcome to the Big Pep Show. We are now broadcasting on the Discourse Syndicate network for our Saturday show. So, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining the stream. Again, quick audio check. Make sure everything is sounding good and set up right on this channel. And we will go ahead and jump into the news. By the way, yes, I have a lot of articles to cover, but I'll preface this. I did see, thanks, audio, good, Piston Bro, appreciate it. I did notice the change in the rankings. A large quantity was taken out or reduced by almost every league. So I looked into, the chats and the medium. I didn't see anything specifically pertaining to that, but I got some ideas around it. We'll talk about that as well. So first thing let's do, as we always do, let's jump in and take a look at the current hex price. So we've seen, man, this thing is slow today. There we go. Some reason I wasn't showing. Running around 7.9 cents, seeing a bit of volatility all through the week. One thing that I've been noticing is the dips get bought up rather quickly. We don't seem to push much below the 7.2, so 7.4 cents. I mean, I think we've dipped slightly into the 6.8, 6.9 cent range in the past week or so, but didn't linger there for very long. So I think 7 cents is a pretty good a stable holding point right now, or a good threshold for the moment. Obviously, the big news is around sacrifice phase. When's it going to launch? How long is it going to be? Pulse chain progress, all that. We see a dip down here. I think we're seeing on some of these sell-offs as well. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the crypto space that's been FUD and negative news. We're going to talk about that. And anything that happens negative from Bitcoin down obviously radiates through onto all cryptos, including Hex. But Hex has weathered the storm better than others. And again, we're still earning, that trustless interest. One thing that we can say in Hex is, with even these price movements, we're still doing pretty well, earning our daily trustless interest, which helps us keep the strong hands, which are so important in this game. Okay, let's go ahead and jump on over to some of the articles I have here. So first off, we've got Bitcoin pros. This is from MarketWatch. Bitcoin pros speculate over possible loss of $2 billion in crypto fortune after death of one large owner. I found this article important because we always talk about security and inheritance and all these measures you need to take and the personal responsibility involved in owning and holding crypto. And here's a perfect example of not being prepared and how a massive fortune can just be lost forever. In this case here, I'm not going to go over the whole article. We'll just talk about the bullet points. So Mircea, I don't know if I pronounced this correctly, Mircea Popescu, a controversial figure in the world of crypto, never heard of him before this article, boasted one of the single biggest Bitcoin fortunes, and his amassed wealth and digital assets may be lost to the ether after his ultimately death last month. Some speculate. Here's what's been reported this far. Papasco reportedly died off the coast of Costa Rica. Local news reports say he was swept away by the current and died on the spot. During a morning swim in Playa Hermosa de Garabito, Punta-Ranas, I'm sure I butchered that pretty bad. One of the largest owners of Bitcoin, who reportedly held as much as $1 billion, is dead at 41. Now, the rest of this article goes on about how he may not have had it. Nobody seems to know where his keys are, and this money could just be lost forever on the blockchain. In fact, down in here, there is a little excerpt. It's unclear, right here. It's unclear if anyone besides Popesco has access to those wallets. He said, if there isn't anyone who has the private keys to his Bitcoin storage, those coins could essentially be lost forever, in the sense that they will just sit in his wallets without the ability to be liquidated. And here we go. This is a younger guy. I mean, only 41, just out for a swim, not doing anything radical. And, it's not like he was, skydiving or something like that. And probably never expected something like this to happen. And it just goes to show how, fate can change in a moment's notice, and being prepared is essential. Now this guy's gone, and if this money is just going to be locked up via his heirs or family or whatever, and they can't access that, then it was essentially all for nothing. So we all need to think about that when we talk about crypto and inheritance and family and this kind of thing, and how the handoff would be. None of us are going to live forever, and it's not necessarily that you have 30 years left just because you're young, or 50 years or 20 years. Everybody knows, and we've seen in the past year or so, the tide can change. No pun intended on this article, in a second. So keep that in mind. And if you haven't prepared that situation in your own life, if you don't have plans, if you don't have somebody at least that understands, how to get in and manage these assets you have, then it's literally just dead money on the blockchain. And another aspect of this too is when this kind of money is locked up and it can't be accessed, it also gives that vanity metric more vanity when it comes to market cap, because if these coins are technically not in the supply and cannot even be sold by anyone, they should really be taken out of that calculation. But that's a difficult thing to assess. But just food for thought, when you are assessing the value of something, definitely consider all those aspects of a token. And we know this because Hex, of course, gets a lot of flack for having such a huge supply and then saying it can't get past a certain threshold. Okay, another article I found interesting here, and this is kind of a two-pronged article. So Robinhood holds $11.6 billion in crypto ahead of its IPO. If some of you don't know, Robinhood is going public here very soon. So they're starting to come out more in the news with what's going on behind the scenes there and things they have to disclose. But most of it is in Dogecoin. So Robinhood is preparing to go public, and it has revealed contents of its platform. The trading platform holds over $11 billion in cryptocurrencies. However, it said most of its cryptocurrency business is reliant on Dogecoin. Well, we all know about Dogecoin. Hold on one second, guys. So I got to stop going to the pub the day before these things. It makes it rough. Anyway, the bottom line in this article is, the bulk of the people jumping into crypto, FOMOing in, as we all know, that are using Robinhood, are just aping into stuff like Dogecoin, which, it's also something to think about their mentality as a crypto investor, because they don't actually take possession of their coins through Robinhood. It's not even like Coinbase, where you can send it to, say, a MetaMask or a hardware wallet. It just is managed solely by Robinhood. So for these people jumping in, I think that it's just a red flag or a warning sign when the mania around Dogecoin fades and it's no longer a big headline and it just kind of gets lost in the weeds there. A lot of sell-off will take place because people that are thinking, well, Elon's going to send a Doge dog or a Doge rocket or whatever to the moon, and and who cares, right? This is not anything. We all know in crypto, Doge doesn't have any utility. It's a meme coin. It's a joke, and it's not meant to be something of this magnitude. It never was, even by its creator. So it's definitely a thing to keep an eye on. And with Robinhood going public, it sets them up also for a lot of different levels of scrutiny and disclosure. Once you go public, you do have the SEC involved more, and you have to disclose your earnings and where they come from and cash flows, this kind of stuff. So for Robinhood, we'll see how this plays out in the long term. I suspect that as people become more educated in crypto, with some of the people I've onboarded, some of the people that have been onboarding have been asking more pointed, detailed questions. They actually want to start understanding what they're buying, are getting their head around this, and they're thinking, well, wait a minute, this really isn't all that I thought it was going to be. There's other things out there, and then you get into Hex and other stuff, and it's a segue into that. But again, the Dogecoin, it's held by Robinhood. That's the bottom line here. It's not held by individual wallets. So those people can trade on Robinhood, but they're never going to own their coins. So not your keys, not your coins. and that's definitely an opportunity for some big sell-off. Because when a big sell-off comes through Robinhood, as it will eventually, then we'll see a lot of wrecked plebs, unfortunately. And we're trying to save them. We're trying to get them into something with utility like Hex, but people like to often learn the hard way because they always think they know. They don't want you to tell them. All right, this one here. So another article here, the Crypto Daily, Movers and Shakers, July 3rd. The only thing I wanted to point out in this article is they're talking about the top coins and how much they've been fluctuating. These are the big movers and shakers, guys. So Cardano, 4.75%, Ethereum, 2.29%, Bitcoin Cash, I don't think anybody follows it anymore. Binance and Litecoin down, 0.9, 0.12%, Polkadot down 0.13. When I look at this article, I say, you know what, hexagons are pretty darn happy because they're making gains doing nothing, just staking. Staked hexagons are making gains well beyond any of these. And these are people that are biting their nails and sweating bullets over the bag they have with any of these other coins. And we're just kind of sitting back in cruise control with Hex. So a nice feeling there. So Hex already blows. This is all just kind of white noise nonsense to me. I don't care because in Hex, it's orders of magnitude better than anything here. And these, again, are the big market movers and shakers, the big dogs. So nothing to really beat. You're not really missing the boat with any of them, that's for sure. All right, let's go into some other articles here. I will get into the chat, guys. I see some of you on here, so not ignoring anybody. This one here is what I want. Okay, Bitcoin mining is now easier and more profitable as algorithm adjusts after China crackdown. So there's a lot of FUD around China banning the mining and what's going on there. I've dug in a little bit on this and some other article I have to talk about after this one. That it's not necessarily a game over with China. I think that people need to understand when it comes to crypto, it wasn't ever reliant or based on China or any country. It's meant to be a borderless currency. So just because China had the majority of the hash rate and now that's changing doesn't mean it's the end of crypto. And people kind of have to get their head around that. Let's look at some of the bullet points here. So the key points, more than 54% of Bitcoin's hash rate, which is the collective computing power of miners worldwide, has dropped off the network since its market peak in May. The Bitcoin code is recalibrated to make it 28% less difficult to mine. Miners who are still plugged into the network stand to make greater profits while most of the network's miners remains offline. And what they talk about here too is China is talking about moving some of its mining equipment off to other countries, a lot of it coming back to the United States. We've seen some of the miners being shipped and this kind of thing. And Bitcoin or China is still mining Ethereum too, by the way, which is a Chico Crypto video that talks about this. I'll mention next. And the point here is that I do agree we're kind of being played here by China. I mean, it's not anything for China to I mean, if China was to be exposed as lying, then I mean, I guess the first time for everything. But I think that there's a little bit more behind the scenes going on, and this is to FUD prices down, scoop stuff back up. We've seen this many times before. So I'm a little cautious to get trigger happy in any of this. And none of this really affects my Hex position because we're not dependent on any of these people. When we get to Pulse, when we have proof of stake, even less consumption. We don't even need, the mining for the ETH network in that as well. And let me just mention one thing in line with that. Now I know this is, here's I gotta keep adding these for some reason. Okay. So this is a Chico Crypto video that came out a few days ago. I know Chico's not Hex friendly, I get it, but I do kind of just fly by some of his stuff when he has news points like this. He exposed quite a bit relating to China and the mining in this video, and I'm not going to play too much of it here, just a little bit of a bullet point on some of the miners that they're showing packing up here.
picture of what looks like a farm being packed up and set up for shipping. Well, those miners are not new mining machines. Those are old as freak, like ancient old miners. They're actually Antminer V9s, which only produce a max hash rate of 4 terahashes per second. The standard.
Okay. We'll take that out because I think a commercial's come up, but I don't want to play too much of that stuff anyway, just in case any kind of copyright thing. But give credit where credit's due. He does call out China for a lot of things in there. He calls them out for still mining Ethereum. He calls them out for this type of activity here. There's some government stuff going on behind the scenes. Some articles he points to there where there's a little bit of it's they got a headline, but it's not necessarily what they're really doing. And that they're showing these farms being packed up and some being dismantled, but then there's spools of wire for installing new mining farms. Didn't really make a lot of sense. So if you want to know a little bit more about what might really be going on with China, take a look at that video, and it gives you a little more clarity as to how this game is often played. And again, not to fudge yourself out if you're thinking, oh my God, China's over, and then the whole crypto space is dead, and we're all going to be broke. No, not at all. And whether or not any of this China stuff plays out one way or the other, like I said, I wouldn't put anything past them on being a little bit deceptive. Like I said, first time for everything, if they actually are. All right. A couple other articles here, and then we'll get into the chat. This one I just found real quick. I found this one kind of interesting because I know there's a lot of people that are into Tesla here, and I follow Tesla as well. But Tesla Model S Plaid caught fire while driver was at the wheel, says fire chief. Saw this just on the news yesterday. A new Tesla Model S Plaid caught fire on Tuesday while the driver was at the wheel, according to Charles McGarvey, chief fire officer for the Lower Merion Township Fire Department in Pennsylvania. The driver's lawyers say he noticed smoke coming out of the back of the vehicle and had to force his way out of the car. I read that electrically, he couldn't get the locks open, the system seized up. Tesla began deliveries of the Model S Plaid, a new high-performance version of the flagship sedan, in June. Earlier, CEO Elon Musk said that deliveries would begin in February. And there's the car. I mean, that's pretty alarming, right? So I'm not sure how it didn't seem to really, ripple much through Tesla's stock. It went down a little bit. I think the findings of this will be interesting, but this is the kind of thing that can happen. Like I've said many times, when you rush to production, as I believe a lot of the Tesla stuff is it can kind of blow back, and that also comes from a career of test engineering. So remains to be seen. I'm not fun in Tesla. I'm just saying that this is the kind of stuff you have to watch for when you get a little bit too trigger happy with just running down the production line. All right, two more things here. So this also came out, and I find it interesting because we always talk about market cap and the vanity metrics around that. So Facebook closes above $1 trillion market cap for the first time, another $1 trillion club member. Facebook has hit $1 trillion market capitalization. Facebook stock spiked in late day trading, aided by a favorable legal ruling that dismissed an antitrust complaint brought by the FTC. The social media company is the fifth U.S. company to hit the milestone, joining Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google parent company Alphabet. Just the tip of the iceberg, folks. I mean, we're going to see more and more of this kind of stuff. I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg is pretty happy about this. And of course, the Facebook shareholders as well. I don't, I was going to do another video on Facebook, by the way, and social media, because I think there's a lot of mental games played on there, which cause people to kind of FOMO or dump their positions for vanity metrics in their own life. And that should definitely be discouraged, because big picture, you don't want to do those kind of things. But to say that, okay, can't have companies over 1 trillion. Well, now we've got, 5 companies over 1 trillion. So people that are like, well, Hex can never hit $1, Hex can never hit $10. I mean, come on. You just got 5 companies in the Dow Nasdaq here that have $1 trillion market cap or greater. And then how many hundreds of other companies do you have that are, tens of billions, hundreds of billions, hundreds of millions combined. I mean, there's a massive amount of infrastructure and money on the table for these types of things for investing. So to say Hex can't get to $1 because it would be, you know, $500-600 billion in market cap, and that's ludicrous. Well, obviously not out of the realm of possibility. And it's not gated by the Bitcoin market cap or ETH market cap or any of the top 10 coin market caps. Got to remember that too. There's no hard set rule that says, okay, this coin, say Bitcoin or whatever is the leader, has to be the number one market cap, and nobody can surpass it. Nobody can. I mean, Hex could become that dominant player, and as most of us believe it will down the road, and surpass all that stuff. Or there's things like, again, with this mining and other stuff with Bitcoin that could push it down the list. So it's not a static situation when it comes to ranking. And again, if you told somebody in 1985 that a company was going to be $1 trillion, they would have laughed in your face and they would have said you're nuts and stupid and all this. And now again, we're more and more companies. We're going to see more and more of this as time goes on. And then you'll have a $2 trillion and a $10 trillion company. So keep that in mind when you're thinking big picture and long term here, as far as where Hex can go and what those, you know, upper price points can be. I know Richard even talked about $100 Hex, which would seem ludicrous right now to a lot of people. But again, it's all relative to your point in time and what the market is willing to support. If people want to buy it, they don't buy the market cap. They don't buy the volume. You know, they buy the actual product. So going into the Staker Medium articles here, this is actually a few days old, but Steph released this. I just kind of glanced over it this morning because I did notice that the leagues had changed as far as quantities. Didn't see anything explicitly detailing that here, but he does talk also about staking getting easier and faster and cheaper. They're updating the way that the fees are allocated if you are using the Staker app for staking. And then there was also, I don't know why it's not showing in this article, but they also mentioned about Firebum put together a code to sell portions of stakes. So you can actually, the minter can sell stakes. You can't emergency end stake them early. And there is kind of a cost risk depending on where Hex is at that point in time and the valuation of the stake to end it, you know, when it's due, who makes the most, that type of thing. But they are already verifying code to perform those activities. So I found that kind of uplifting and intriguing. And of course, there's been a lot of discussion and questions around, you know, will you be able to sell stakes, not just Hex tokens? And apparently you will be able to trade stakes, not only just in, but between networks as well. So that also I'd be very interested to see, when I saw that part of the article, I'd be very interested to see how that plays out with Pulse, because maybe if you can trade a stake to Pulse, if it's too expensive to end on ETH, there might be a new market emerging just on that alone. Too new to tell just yet, but something to be seen, something to consider. Now, as far as the rankings, the way what I'm thinking is one of two things. Either they've removed duplicate wallets or who they would suspect as owners of multiple wallets. That one might be a little tougher. I'm not sure how you would actually confirm that one person owns 3 wallets unless you're tracing it all in the blockchain and you can say, oh, this wallet sent it there. And even then, it's no guarantee that that guy owns both. Also, you know, it could be that, so that's one aspect, is maybe they had some wallets that were just actually flushed out and didn't get ranked accordingly. That's my other hypothesis on that, is that we've seen a lot of sell-off in recent weeks and a lot of big bags selling. So I'm thinking, and I've noticed the ranks haven't changed much. So I'm wondering if maybe there was an update that, allocated everything accordingly. And a lot of these people that used to be sharks, used to be dolphins, used to be squids, whatever, are all now correctly ranked amongst the crowds. Don't know yet. Out to see if Steph or Firebun comes out with something. I honestly don't follow the Discourse chat very much on Staker. I do check in once in a while, and that's how I found this morning. But I noticed the leagues as well. What I did notice though is your position really hasn't changed much. I didn't go really up many increments in the league I'm in. So I think it might just be a matter of updating the numbers accurately because they have been static for quite a while. I was a little suspicious. I'm like, we've had all this selling and we still have the same amount of whales, pretty much, same amount of sharks, same amount of dolphins. I was thinking some of these people might have flushed themselves out of those leagues. Let's see if they come up with something more on that, but nothing I'm too concerned about really when it comes to the staking class. I mean, the leagues are fun. They're again, they're just a nice gauge, but they don't really mean anything when it comes to uh, you know your position as far as your abilities. And you don't have any tactical advantage being a shark versus a whale or a dolphin. The only thing you could do is, if, of course, if you have a big bag of hex, you could dump it and wick the price down. But I'll talk a little bit about that too, and I'll get in the chat. I want to make a point on that because a lot of people get triggered and worried when they see these big, 2 million, 3 million hex, or two or $300,000 worth of hex dumped on Uniswap, and they see it several times a day and they freak out. Here's the thing around that: those people that do that are the same folks that were dumping Bitcoin at $1, ETH at $10, and thinking that they got away with the gold. That they were smart, everybody else was stupid, and they're waving off on with their money bags like Scrooge McDuck. But in the end, all the people that held, and this kind of goes back to that first article I had, where that original Bitcoin investor held all those coins, wind up becoming extremely and immensely wealthy. And the people that took their money and ran usually spend it on items that don't generate any revenue: cars, van, clothes and jewelry and TVs and vacations and private jets and whatever, girlfriends, all this kind of stuff. And that they tend to look back with regret, going, "Man, I spent $100,000 on this, and now it's worth 20,000, and it would have been worth 1 million had I just held the bag and lived my life within my financial means." And often these people will run back into the pool and buy up at a much higher price point, and they'll have less of a position. So over time, a lot of these big bag holders are going to be flushed out. And Richard's called it too. He says, "Go ahead and buy it back at $1," and they will. They say they won't, but they will. All right, let's go ahead and jump into chat real quick, and then we'll talk about what's on everybody's mind today. So, Dan Best, good morning. Big Pep, we missed you in Vegas. Hope to see you in March. It's too hot this time of year anyway. It is too hot, and I wish I could have gone to Vegas. It looked like a great time, but unfortunately, corporate America shackled me, so I'm not quite at a point where I can divorce that just yet and do what I want. But definitely, I will make plans to be in March, and I'll, as much heads up notice as we can get, I'll put in some time off to meet there. I'll make it a point regardless. I just got kind of cornered in this one. But everybody that did go, was good to see everybody getting together. I heard a lot of positive. I watched the FN Hangout this morning, and it sounds like a lot of good camaraderie there. People getting to actually meet each other in person is always a different level of engagement with somebody. You form a different relationship when you actually shake somebody's hand, or, well, nowadays you fist bump, whatever. When you meet somebody in person. Now, I did meet Hexo and those guys at the Florida trip, and that's definitely a different type of, again, it's just a different level that you relate to somebody. You see everybody's not just a talking head on YouTube. We're actually real people with regular lives. A lot of us have similar struggles, or we all have the same goal in mind. That's the nice part. Different walks of life, different backgrounds, different interests, whatever, but we all converge at the same point when it comes to hex, and that's to acquire life-changing wealth for the greater good of our lives and the people and community around us. And by the way, if I didn't say already, I want everybody to take a moment and send some best wishes out to Funding Jim. I understand he became very ill during the trip and is now recovering. So Funding Jim, you're definitely a core pillar in the community, and we all appreciate everything you bring here. And you're like a family member to us too. So glad to hear you're recovering. Hope he's back online soon. Funding Jim has a wealth of knowledge and always learn something when I listen to him. So I'm glad he's recovering, though. That was alarming to hear that he was even in that bad of shape. Benny Bills, yeah. Oh, there was the one about this here. We need Conrad and Big Pep duo show for peak Hex Boomer win. I would definitely have a show with Conrad if we could both stay awake long enough to do the show. I'd just be worried that in the Boomer world we might doze off, so somebody have to kind of put a buzzer on our wrist and wake us up if we start snoring. Otherwise, sure, that'd be good. I like Conrad. I mean, he's a little more laid back, methodical guy. Some people aren't as big on him, but yeah, he's a level-headed dude. BMA, has anyone else noticed a change? Yeah, we talked about the rankings there, and maybe again, Steph or somebody might, yeah. It noticed, looking at this too. You talk about the 5 wheel 79 Sharks. It looks down the board, at least in the top tiers, they got about cut in half because it used to be 10, and then there's 5, and I don't know if there was 160 Sharks or so. I think it was more like 120, but the Dolphins, I think it went down to like 700 from 980. But all of them, even the Turtles, everybody got cut way back. It's a bug. Well, Benny Bills, I should have read that first. Happens every now. Okay, so maybe my assessment is completely wrong. If it's just a bug, it's a bug. All right, then they will resolve it. Again, the rankings don't matter. Your payout's your payout, right? It's just something you can feel like, hey, I'm in a higher league of stakers. Discourse morning, that was me. Good morning. Who wants breakfast? I just had some breakfast, but I'm always up for some food. Big foodie. Morning, fellow Hexicans. Wakey, wakey. All right, let's get down to some of the other chat here. Hang on, guys. Again, I'm trying to get what I'm not used to seeing is the Discourse Syndicate emblem or avatar. I'm used to seeing my own. Lights out. What's up, Big Pep? What's up, Lights out? Duke of Booze, good to see you. David Morales, good to see you. Hey, David, great to see you. Big Peep, missed you at Vegas. Yeah, David, I know. Again, I'll be at the next one though. I'll definitely make a point. Great to see you too, David. And nice to meet you that one time we did in Orlando. Marcavelli, good to see you here. Tidon, this is the problem to having just one set of private keys. In case of something ultimately, those funds could be forever lost. People should look into Shamir secret sharing. Totally agree, Tidon. You need to plan ahead for these kind of things. I mean, it would be just, and the sad thing is you wouldn't be here to realize that Hexagon 720, good morning. You wouldn't be here to realize the loss that your loved ones or family might endure, knowing that hey, there's this money, and it's not that we were hoping you'd pass and we'd gain access to this, but to hold this for this long and stay this strong, and one of the things you want to do is help enable your family to have a better life after your passing. So to see that lost is definitely a shame. Papa Boner, or Papa B as he goes by on Pulse Chat, and he's on the Discourse in the mornings a lot. He discusses quite often about security keys, and he's got a lot of good ideas around this topic. I would reach out to him if you want some tips or suggestions on what to do. But do it now. Don't wait until people tend to think, well, I'll just scribble out my will on a napkin and I'll let everybody know when I'm on my deathbed. It doesn't hardly ever work out like that. It's more secure than just one set of private keys, and also can allow those beyond you to potentially recreate the seed words. That's interesting, T-Don. I hadn't heard of that before, but something to work to take a look at. Purple, good morning. Hex and Effect, morning, people. Purple. Trevor, yikes, yeah. RG3, captain's on the ship, everybody. Everybody stand attention. Salute. Good to see you, RG. Hexicans, Vibra Finance CEO. RG3R, morning RG. RGS, hi Big Pep, how you doing? Viber Finance Doge on the Flare network is something. Not sure what the Flare network is there, Vibra. We're talking about the Robinhood, if that's what they call it. T-Don, wait, you're telling me Doge isn't going to replace the dollar? Is the new world reserve currency? My life is a lie. Well, T-Don, I hate to tell you, maybe it will replace the dollar on the moon, but I don't think it's going to have I mean, we all know that that's not going to have the traction that real world applications for DeFi are going to bring us, such as Hex. And again, Hex really is pre-viral because so many people just don't know about it. And I've introduced it to a lot of people in the real world. I say in my regular walks of life. I will say this: I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter with this topic. I don't spend a lot of time on social media in general with this topic because nobody listens, and the people that are interested or that are already in crypto are like the maxis who just want to fight and argue and this kind of thing. It's the people in the regular walks of life that are more interested and embrace this, and they tend to reach out. I've had more people reach out in the last month than ever before because they're intrigued by these things, and they when they understand something about it, they want to look into it. And I explain Hex and Pulse and tell them about what's going on, and I don't even try to sell them. I'm like, here's how it is. Everything's high risk. All the fundamentals, all the things we adhere to, the principles we adhere to in crypto, and make your own decision. But here's how you do it, and here's what's performing. And they're very intrigued. You lead with that, CD on the blockchain, they click right away. They're like, oh, I know what that is. That's relatable. Private finance is the reason why they chose them, either social media or they will enable smart contracts, which in essence makes it easy. Talking about Doge, I don't know if they can do smart contracts down the road. I don't really look into it that much, to be honest. I mean, Doge, I think it's more of just a hype thing, Elon. I will say this, everybody I know that's bought Doge has absolutely no idea what they're talking about. They don't know crypto, they don't care. They heard that people got rich on it and it's on Robinhood and they bought it. I have heard nobody make a case for Doge. In fact, they don't even understand what the hell it is. They're just like, oh, it's something, it's a stock, right? No. They don't know. Crypto Kobe, my man Big Pep, what up, Pimp? Hex all day. Hey, what's up, Crypto Kobe? Hex all day indeed. It's a good time to be in Hex, always a good time. Eric, what's shaking, Pep? Not much, just, it's raining over here. We got a hurricane on the way. But it's just the Cat 1. I think it's going to be a tropical storm when it gets over us. ISO Serenity, dang, down 2 spots on Nomics today. Yeah, I mean, it fluctuates. I'm not too worried about that. Vibra Finance, buy a big, tiny bag. Buy a tiny bag of Doge and put it away. It's too risky not to. IMO. I mean, if people want to play in Doge, I mean that's fine. Only if you have your Hex's priority above. Well, that's the main thing, right? Priorities. If you've got a solid footing in a finished product like Hex, and you're doing well, and if you want to take a little money and throw it on the roulette wheel with Doge, I mean, nobody's stopping you. But here's the thing I look at with Hex is I never have enough. I don't know any hexagon that says I have enough Hex. I don't need any more. And Hex is addictive. It's like a narcotic almost that way. It's like you got to get more, more, and more. Nobody I know is happy with the Hex bag. Just going, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go buy something else because I don't need any more Hex. And people like to stake it and get those T-shares to earn more too. So priorities, absolutely right. Purple, sovereign currency. I don't care what country. Don't let Hex. Okay. Eric, bad advice. Always buy more Hex to sacrifice. Yeah, a lot of people are scooping that up. I think the other thing, we're kind of in this, calm before the storm. There's been so much uh, pent up anxiety around the sacrifice. We've been waiting every weekend. You hear the same thing. Guys, I think it's today. Guys, I think it's this weekend. I'll bet Richard does it on the 4th. I'll bet he doesn't. I'll bet it's still delayed. But when he does, I bet he just comes out blindsides. Here's what it is, everybody. We're launched, and it's going to be. He's already alluded to the fact that it's probably going to be a much shorter sacrifice phase than the original allotted 30, 35 days. Hold on. So the original 30, 35 days. So I think that we're going to see, of everybody kind of they're almost burned out from waiting, and then they're just gonna wake up and run like mad, once the phase is announced. And you probably won't have, but maybe more than 2 or 3 days to sacrifice in that pre part of the bonding curve before it starts to ratchet up in that initial first few days to get the best deals. I'd be very interested to see what kind of money comes in on those. That's one that I'm like, that will be very interesting when that takes place. Benny Bill's DCC dollar cost cryptos theory that America will take over BTC mining because America is an interesting because America, I get it. The Trumpish America. America is an interesting one. Well, I think that's where it's going right now, Benny. And then again, there'll be a lower cost region once it gets more expensive again, and people will start to mine it elsewhere. Maybe not China again. It might go to somewhere in South America or Africa or maybe in Eastern Europe. I don't know. Could be all over the place. It's all about zooming out, looking at macro, right? ML7475, hi Big Pep. What do you think about the Coinbase lawsuit? I love the idea because it is right, but I wouldn't like more hate. Coinbase lawsuit. You're talking about the Coin Market Cap one from Johnny? I don't know the Coinbase lawsuit. If it's the Coin Market Cap one, I think that's interesting, and Johnny's definitely taking the bull by the horns on that one. If Coinbase, I'm not sure. Let me know if there's an article about that. Benny Bills, not being hex friendly means that you are a piece of shit or ignorant. There's really not much else. Hex threatens to make those liars honest, so of course they have no choice but to bash it. People that hate Hex don't understand or know anything about Hex. They hate Richard. They hate Richard because they're envious of him, or he, corrected them, or shamed them somehow, or they have to stand corrected, whatever. They don't like Hex because of Richard. Even Chico Crypto, who I've watched for a long time, and he's had some epic picks, and he's had some dogs, right? He's had some dog shit picks, and he hates Hex just because of Richard, and it's blatantly obvious when people ask him. All he says is Richard's a terrible guy. He's gonna steal your money. Spike, what's up, Hex fam? And anybody that's been in Hex long enough does their research. And anybody, like I've said before, people in Hex are critical thinkers. They're independent thinkers. They're not sheeple. Okay, they're leaders. They're people that can, take a chance, step away from the herd, and say, you know what? I don't care what these people say. I care what I discover, and I make my own choices. Which is why all of us in here are the strong-hand, strong-minded people that stick together. And I'll hit the like, people. Yeah, guys, hit the like, please. And I do still have the Big Pep channel, so please, if you're not on my other channel, like and subscribe. I'll be publishing videos there as well. I'm just moving my Saturday streams to the Discourse network. Hex Ella, what's good, Big Pep and Hex family? Hope everyone is well. I'm good. Everything's pretty well around here. T-Don, what always makes no sense to me is when we look at people like Bezos, Elon, etc., and how many billions they have in net worth. It's not that they have that much billions, but rather how many shares. Correct. Most of their billions is in the stock market and in their own companies, and would have to be sold off. They don't have it in cash in the bank. It's usually in other investments. So good point there, T-Don. It's again, that's a vanity metric too, by the way. Jeff Bezos, Buffett, all these guys, even Buffett, a lot of it's in Berkshire. A lot of his billions, it's not in Wells Fargo, not in his bank accounts. But then people in crypto be like, economic centralization is bad. It's a social acceptance of economic centralization. Guys like Bezos and Elon, and it's like a pop culture popularity contest. They're cool to be friends with. Everybody wants to know them. They get up there on CNBC or any other show, and they're the highlight of the hour, and they tweet this or that or whatever they do. Whatever they say moves markets, and it's just a human nature to kind of gravitate towards people of immense wealth. It's all how it's marketed. T-Don, this is how capitalism and free markets work, correct? Guys, give me 1 minute. 1 minute, I promise I'll be back. I got something at the door I got to take care of real quick, okay? Hang on. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. So yeah, capitalism and free markets. And I don't have a problem with that. Some people have issues with capitalism and free markets because usually they're losers and they don't like to see other people succeed. I'm not trying to be smart ass or cruel, but I mean it's sadly that's the narrative. So anybody I've talked to who's like, I hate this guy because he's rich, is usually a broke pleb who can't get out of their own way and they blame their failures and all everybody else. Nardo one for the win. Good to see you here. RG3. Subscribe to Big Pep's channel. Yeah, please do, guys. Thanks. Thanks for that link there, RG. Oops. Way behind in the chat here, guys. Catching up. iBaseline, Dex hacked. New token being launched. Now funds Safu. Did not know that. Thanks for the info there. Fiber Finance. Good morning, RG3. Dave Morales, upcoming or updating my Staker app as we speak to see the change. Okay, cool, David. Market Value 23. Oh yeah, nice. I have moved up 100 spots. I moved up, I think, yeah, around 200 or so. But if it's just a bug, it is what it is. I'm not too concerned. OMFE. Nobody talk about turtles. Everybody loves the turtles, man. Somebody from a turtle graduated to a squid the other day on Twitter. That was cool to see. So I think that, you know, there's hope for everybody to move up the ranks, staking strong along. You get there. I mean, that's a nice thing too, right? I mean, Hex isn't just an OG only, you know, community or an OG only success factor. You know, everybody can succeed in Hex because the OG Hexicans at some point, their stakes are going to mature. Those big T share bags are going to end, right? And new people that are coming in are going to acquire greater T shares. If you're staking now, you're going to buy T shares that may seem small in comparison to some of the OG bags. But when those years from now, I'm not talking about monthly or even, you know, semi-annual stakes, I'm talking about multi-year stakes that come out down the road. You're holding strong all that time. Those people come out are going to have to spend a lot more Hex, a lot more, to get the same bag you have that you maybe consider, you know, rather minuscule at this point in time. So don't get discouraged when you have short-term thinking. Think big term, long, you know, big picture, long term. Wolf of Worcester, what's up, Big Pep? I keep gambling on my Hex. Keep gambling my Hex away, waiting for this sacrifice phase. Shake my head. Well, you know, part of the mental discipline is to, you know, at least pre-allocate how much dollar value you want to sacrifice into, and keep a nice bag of that with a little buffer in case, you know, maybe there is some sell-off. You know, when everybody's talking about the price is going to 2 or 3x, I think it'll at least 2x during the sacrifice phase, but that's also going to cause some people to dump. So if you have a USD value and in Hex and you get in there and you get a nice price pickup, you'll do quite well. But hold that and don't just pretend it's not there. You know, bury it in the backyard, leave it alone. Because Richard said there's no, you know, formal warning. There's no you know, heads up announcement about the sacrifice. It's just going to come out. He's mentioned before a few times that you'll just, you know, he'll just come on stream and make it known that yes, sacrifice has launched, and he's already given you plenty of time to prepare. So be careful gambling your Hex away. Maybe gamble something else away. Dr. Chim jumped from 535 to 358 squid. That was a big jump. Oh yeah. Well, we'll see what Steph. If it's the bug thing, then that'll probably Ninja Turtles. Hey, Ninja Turtles were cool. That'll probably be resolved in the near future here. Turtles will have today. Absolutely, Hex. In effect, look, it's even been a turtle. Maybe it doesn't seem like much now, but the newcomers, a couple of years from now, that's going to be another, you know, a staking class they'll envy. They'll want to be in. Market Valley girlfriends gross. Well, girlfriends can definitely be expensive. iBaseline, if you have girls in private jets, I don't think you have regrets. Well, maybe not at that point in time, Baseline, but I'm thinking of some of the social media antics that go on that especially probably trigger men and younger guys to, you know, play the catch-up game, the competing with the Joneses mentality that goes on. I mean, Facebook is nothing but a news feed of false advertising. everybody's rich and successful and beautiful and has no regrets, and their marriage is perfect, and their job is great, and they do it all over again, and they're all full of shit. They're all a bunch of liars. Because any of them in real life, you're like, oh yeah, my wife's cheating on me, we're getting divorced. Oh, she won't give it up, or oh, I'm broke, and I can't barely afford this or that, and my job sucks. It's like, yeah, there's the truth. They ought to have truth book with dislike buttons. You know, I'd probably sign up on that one because at least it's real. You know, I mean, some people have it great, but I'm so tired of hearing this. Why is it? And not to get off topic, but why is it? And in my age too, it happens. Why does everybody have to tell me, or tell the world, I should say, that how much they love their wife? I don't give a shit. That should be implied, right? I don't care if she's the greatest thing that happened to you. I would just assume that's implied because you're still married to her. But why sell everybody else on it? Why do you have to go on social media and make a big deal? I mean, who cares? It's just well, what it is it's just a way for them to convince themselves and to elicit envy from others who are not married. But anybody who's been married is a little bit wiser on that topic. All right, Trevor, what's happening in March? I don't know, Trevor. So I guess there's a meetup. I know there's another one coming up soon. Maybe it is in March. That would be cool because March is my birthday. So cool deal. March Madness is March. March Madness of basketball. Gary is great. Get well. Correct, Spike. Yeah, Gary. Get well soon. Marcavelli, subscribe on Big Pep's YouTube. Thanks, Marcavelli. Appreciate that. D'Artagnan 8. Love you, Big Pep. I love you too, man. Thanks for joining the stream. And please also subscribe on my other channel. SigX148. Good morning, Big Pep. Good morning. I know if this is a little sluggish too, guys. I'm using a different computer today. And for some reason, this interface to StreamYard doesn't behave exactly as the one I have on my other PC. So if it seems like I'm a little sluggish bouncing around, that's why. Plus, I was out at the pub last night, which doesn't help. Benny Bills, haha, pep. Yeah. David Morales, thanks to Hex Monkey nursing him back to health. I heard about that. Yeah, thank you, Hex Monkey, and everything else he did in Vegas. Sounds like everybody, and they mentioned you too, David, in the FN Hangout. And I just say you're a really cool dude too. The Hexagon community that's what I really like about it. When you meet people and everybody's real and nobody's there, you can tell that everybody's legit. It's not this, oh, I'm just going to pretend to, it's not like corporate America where everybody's, trying to stab you in the back while they're shaking your hand. It's not like that. People are actually in this to win it, and we've overcome some tremendous hate and odds in the community as a whole, and that's why we stick together. So all good there. And I think the Vegas, just what I saw, the clips from the Vegas meetup prove that. Benny Bill's hilarious response. Love people who can take a joke. Me too. Need that life alert to alert you when it's time. Oh, for my, yeah, for me and Conrad, that's true. I mean, I had uncles that they're both in their 80s, and one would be talking to me, and the other one would fall asleep, and then the other one the one that was talking would fall asleep, and the other one would wake up. I guess that's just, I'll get there too eventually. Culture critique. I jumped 300 spots on the Turtle League. Everybody was bumping up there. Nagandra Babu. Hey, Big Pep, couple of questions. A few of my friends don't want any hex. Do you think P hex is a good opportunity? 2, within a year, which one has the highest probability of doing 50x P hex or hex? Thanks. Well, I think the first one, absolutely, it's a good opportunity. And E hex and P hex, don't wait. I mean, E hex, get as much as you can because you're going to get a copy of it in P hex on the other chain. So there's no reason to wait for that. And as far as price, I think they could both do a 50x without breaking a sweat. If you want to talk about 1000x, again, I think even both could. Richard says he wants hex expensive everywhere, but depending on where the P hex price starts, that is the determining factor. If it starts extremely low, I think it will wick up incredibly fast, but it may wind up by the time there's a price discovery, it could already be in the pennies. So tough to say until that launches. But 50x on both of those, I think no sweat on either one of them. I would say that I suspect initially liquidity will probably be drained quite a bit on ETH just because there's anticipation of a lot of dumping out of fear. And then once those hands wash out, probably liquidity will will be siphoned back in, and it'll stabilize again. The only thing on the ETH chain is as ETH grows and the gas fees come back to nuke everybody again, there's going to be stakes that bleed out that just are not worth ending, as we've seen already when ETH hit all-time high gas prices. But then we got the pulse chain, so you're not going to lose anything. Buy and stake your hex and your ETH hex and your ETH stakes. You'll get a copy on Pulse. So no time like the present, man. Don't wait. I mean, it's an ongoing effort to acquire hex. Benny Bills, it's always been a random bug in the past going off of that. Okay. I'm trying to think. I do remember seeing that, and I didn't follow up on the root cause. I think it just kind of went away. So, XL, what if stakes are ending and instead of restaking, people are keeping liquid for sacrifice? Maybe not a bug. Well, there's no question that's going on, Hexal Law. I myself have mentioned that. A lot of people have. I don't have any stakes ending to participate in that. What I've done is most people that have been in Hex for a while is leaving their stakes alone and acquiring as much Hex as they can before sacrifice. I think the delays are actually a good thing. It's allowed us to accumulate a bigger bag to go in. Video maker dude, it's a bug for sure. Okay, good enough. Video maker dude, cool. Molly Investor, hey Big Pep, hey Motley, good to see you. I always watch you on Cabana's show, usually on the Friday happy hour. Coconut, after it's over, usually by the time I'm home. Hey BP, good to see you, and say thanks, Coconut. And Motley's a great guy too. I met him in person, really cool dude. Salt of the earth guy, like everybody in the Hex community. Stand up, dude. Benny Bills, much Doge, headlines, follow the crowd. Lemming behavior is all I know. Sadly, Benny, that is the way people behave going into crypto. Like I said, I've known a dozen people now in Doge, and some people I'm shocked they even know what it is, because they're not necessarily into any of that kind of stuff. They're not technical at all or anything. And you ask them, they're like, "Oh no, it was on Robinhood and people got rich, so I bought it." And Elon's going to put it on the moon. That's the best argument I've heard for Doge. Is somebody was telling me, a colleague, "Oh no, Elon's going to put it on the moon. It's going to go crazy." I'm like, okay, good luck with that. Benny Bills, thinking for myself, actually using my brain. What's that? I know, right? In modern America, God forbid anybody does those things. Pay me hex, because you can't blame other people when you think for yourself. It's easier to throw it on somebody else when things go wrong. What's up, Big Peck? Pay me hex. Not much, man. Doing good. T-Don, most people in crypto are wrecked plebs. True. The Doge thing just solidifies this retardedness. Absolutely. Well, it's IPO season and it's ICO season and it's SPAC season all over again for people. People just run into anything that's the headline of the day. And they do it in stock markets all the time. They do it in precious metals. They do it in crypto. It's nothing new, the mentality. It's just we happen to see it more in crypto because there's so many stories about, people just blindly getting rich in this stuff. I bought a 10 million Doge and I didn't know, and I bought it at fractions of a penny. And who knew? And now I'm rich. And they're like, oh, I got to get into that game. But that's kind of a greater fool's theory on those. And that's where people get wrecked. I screwed up not buying more Hex last year. Well, I mean, you still can buy more now, and these dips, embrace them, But like Richard says, don't buy the tops and sell the bottoms. Buy the bottoms and sell the tops. Easier said than done. But anyways, people who refuse to use their brains are basically animals. They might as well be living with the animals in the jungle. The only thing that separates us from the animals is our reasoning ability. True. Well, our sense of right and wrong, is part of that too. I mean, a lion doesn't know, if he's slaughtering some other animal, if it's right or wrong. It's just a matter of survival for them. Or if they attack you, it's not a personal thing. So that's the biggest thing is animals don't have sense of right or wrong. User 123, 55 likes, 92 watching. Yeah, smash the likes, guys, please. Hex Toshi VP is always bullish with that background. Always bullish on Hex. Because even with price dips, we're still getting those nice T-shares. And there's always an angle to play with Hex. The game theory is very intriguing because you get a lot of people that get into any asset. All they can do is hold and hope with hopium that it runs up. With Hex, you're going to have gains with those daily trustless interest payouts, no matter what the price does. And if the price wicks down, maybe you can get some more cheap T-shares. Think about that too. We need more likes, yeah. BC, Richard did the same thing with Hex. Right. Benny Bills, this is so early though. Last year was 3 to 4 a.m. early. This is still 6 to 7 a.m. early right now. You talking about the show time here? Earlier even. Yeah, more likes, guys. Let's see. Chaotic Creations at CMC, not Coinbase. Yeah, I saw Johnny's excerpt on that Chaotic. That's to be interesting to see how that plays out. Finbear, hey Pep, we are having the smallest Hexagon meetup in the world. Please say hi to my buddy Nico Von Coco that covers both of us. Well, hello, Nico Von Coco, and big shout out from the East Coast here to you and the Hex community in general. BC up. Oh, catching up on chat again, guys. I tend to get long-winded here. Hang on. I'm not ignoring anybody. Feed on coffee break. Margavelli, is there a difference between realized gains and a realized budgeted APY T-share rolling over to immense ratcheted up gains? Difference between realized gains. Well, the realized gains, I'm not really sure, Margavelli, maybe I'm misreading your question here, but the realized, you're talking about selling the Hex, or you're talking about just realizing your interest in ending your stake versus, you know, what you're forecasting to earn in APY with your T-shares over into the next year. I mean, just the gains and, you know, in that respect, if you're talking about taxes or something, you know, obviously your interest payments are income, and your sales, if you actually sell for USDC or something, then you may have a capital gains tax depending on how long you held that position, as we all know. Tripod, crazy to think exactly this time last year I was able to buy 100,000 Hex for $200. Don't remind me, Tripod. If I have regrets, I've said a million times, you know, I'm the biggest dumbass in crypto. I blast a lot of other people in Dogecoin, but I had a Doge brain during the FUD cycles of Hex when day 33 or whatever it was, and we had those, you know, epic low prices, and yeah, don't mind. I try to look forge ahead. It's all you can really do. We all have regrets about not getting more. You know, Mel Tony got here late. Some people say they don't, but they're liars, or that, well, maybe whatever. I can't say that, but you know, I will say, for me, independent thinker here, pissed off. I didn't get enough, and I'm mad about it. But I'm still trying to get more. Got here late. Good morning. Good morning, Mel Tony. Benny Mills, yep, it's all jealousy. Jealousy is such an evil thing, straight from Satan himself. The key to avoiding it is to be inspired by someone else's success instead of bitter. It's simple. Yeah, I mean, social media will poison your mind, and that's what I was referring to there. There's studies on how it actually causes depression in people, because it's nothing but envy over fake highlight reels and nonsense, you know. So I don't get twisted up in that stuff too much. The only reason I mention it social media too is because if you are trying to fulfill something and think you're going to prove your worth to these folks who don't care about you anyway, then you're even a greater fool than them, right? If you're going to go cash out your Hex to buy vanity items to impress people on Facebook or Instagram, that's a very stupid, foolish move. And something else about Facebook friends, I'm not going to dwell on social media too much in this broadcast, but those people are not your friends for the most part. Friends, you know, on the phone. You don't need Facebook Messenger to talk to people. Everybody texts their family. Everybody texts their friends. I don't know anybody that uses Messenger except scammers usually, or maybe an initial contact with somebody. And these folks with thousands of friends, it's all just smoke and mirrors, man. Most of those people wouldn't help you change a flat tire. They wouldn't lend you $1 for the vending machine if you're starving to death. So don't, just because the nomenclature says friend, don't be misled. Most of them are only there hoping you'll like their crap too. So don't fall for it. We have no claims against Coinbase, our Chaotic Creations says, as they are not TGE ones, or not the ones pretending to be a fair and trusted data site. Coinbase is an exchange. You can do what they like, right? Different business model. I would be more interested, really, if we get listed on Coinbase, then we're good to go. And not because I'm loving Coinbase. It's not that at all. It's just a familiar interface. Everybody onboards through their on-ramps, usually through Coinbase, and then they just buy on Coinbase. A lot of the people that have been onboarding lately didn't know about anything like, you tell them MetaMask, Uniswap, they're like, what's that? I never even heard of it. But you can't, that's why they think if it's not on Coinbase, they're just SOL. No, they just need education. That's all. Maddie Allen, Hex Therapy Live. Good to see you, Big Pep and Hexens. Good to see you too, Maddie. Cal W. Hey, Big Pep. How did you develop the strong hands mentally? Through being a pleb in earlier years and making stupid mistakes and not listening to people who gave me good advice. That's how. Like most of us, when you're young, you know everything, and you think that somebody else is just selling you something, or that they don't see the forest for the trees and you see the big picture. But most of it's just through life lessons, and then taking a step back. Here's the trick: is that you'll learn from your mistakes. Admit you were wrong. Admit you didn't know what you were doing. You're maybe not as smart as you think you are. When you watch Richard, I have to self-correct him. Richard's a younger guy than me. You know, it can be an ego bruise to say, well, I should know all these things. Who's this guy to tell me anything? I'm 15 years his senior or whatever. But you can say, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. He's a smart guy. He makes sense. And maybe he makes some points that I overlooked in my past. So learning from the mistakes of others is the easiest way because it doesn't cost you anything. But it's hard to process that through your ego because your ego blocks a lot of the lessons that you could learn. So that's how you learn there. Develop strong hands. And not being an independent thinker is the biggest thing that you can become, because then you won't be selling based on popularity contests because everybody else is dumping. You think you have to. You dump your bags when it suits you, or if you find a flaw, you find a problem, and you don't wait for the masses to tell you what to do. And do your own research. Wolf of Worcester, yeah, 95% stake, but that 5% liquid has dwindled. LOL. Well, by the way, guys, normally I would have a hard stop today at noon, and Nerd Girl would be doing her show, but Nerd Girl is going to take a break today, so I'm just going to run a little bit over. I'll catch up with the chat here and we'll wrap this up, but my normal time slot will be 11 to 12 Eastern Standard Time for this show on Saturdays. Orion A. Bug, Staker League, and Staker app. Yeah, that's what they were saying. Truth Book sounds good. Maybe it'll be a big maybe it'd be a big winner. Maybe should launch that. Milk Tony, 7.8 cents. Yeah. Dislikes only. I think they should have a dislike on Facebook. I mean, who cares, So what? Dislike my post. You're going to like it anyway. So just dislike it. Just be honest. You don't really like it. You just don't have the option to dislike it. We can handle it. Chaotic Creations. The case is about fraudulently manipulating data and presenting it as fair and trusted data. Goes beyond Hex. Oh, is it the Johnny one with CMC? Yeah, they have the ability to manipulate the overall crypto market and fabricate reality. Yeah, I understand. That is definitely the case with CoinMarketCap and these ranking sites. It's a centralized system, basically, and that's what you get with those kind of people. Now you got CZ in charge. It makes it even worse. Hex in effect, they fucking men. Yep. Thank you, Hex in effect. George Chops, LOL. George Chop, his wife told him to post how much he loves her. Yeah, exactly. I know. You're talking about the social media. Yep, I see it all the time. I always laugh at it. Penny bills, lies and fakery everywhere. Used to be only in certain places. Now it's spread. It has spread its ugly, evil wings. Shake my head. Yeah, sadly, Benny, that's true. I mean, look, what I find surprising is people in my generation, in my age group, who should be beyond this nonsense, this adolescent mentality, are the worst offenders of this kind of shit. And I just don't get it. I mean, if I zoom out, I can try to see their perspective, but I just think it's pointless and stupid. Crypto Gains Club, KDM. How does one know how they rank as a whale, shark, dolphin, etc.? The Staker app. You get the Staker app, and what you do is you put your wallet address in, and it will pull all of your stakes and and you can put multiple wallets in there if you got multiple wallet addresses, and it will show your rank accordingly based on your stakes. Benny Bills, I see these lemmings at work and at the grocery store. I can see right through their fake bullshit, like a clean glass window just cleaned with Windex. Absolutely. That's what I really call being woke, in my opinion. ISO Serenity, Staker app leagues look so weird, bro. It is bugged. Yeah, that's what people are saying. Trevor, I'm just holding Hex. I don't know what chain it's on. I don't see why it wouldn't be valuable everywhere. Well, ETH chain is really the only place it's on right now, and I think you can buy it on Matic, but I don't think many people do. But yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be valuable everywhere either, Trevor. And I mean, you got to read into Richard when he says he wants it valuable everywhere. I mean, come on, read between the lines. If he doesn't want it to go to zero on ETH or down to like a Satoshi again, then I think that you can rest assured that's probably not going to happen. Bennyville, so many lemmings without guidance, without a clue, just going through the motions, going along to get along with their goldfish memories. Good analogy, Benny. Goldfish have what, a 3-second memory, and then the world is new again. Rated Hex, which is actually still longer than some of the people I know. Question: so the T-share price will have a snapshot to match on the hex on the p-hex side. Yes. Well, not the share. Well, we'll talk about that in a second here. My question is the price of the T-share on p-hex side. Will it be the USD value or the amount of p-hex per T-share? It's going to be the same number of hex required is going to be copied over. So if it's 20,000 hex per T-share, then it will be 20,000 p-hex per T-share. The difference as far as USD will be if p-hex is at a very low price, like half a penny, then the USD value for buying a T-share on Pulse will be much cheaper than on ETH and vice versa. That's how that's going to be assessed. But the number it's going to be at that snapshot, it will copy right over. Now, right after the fork and people start participating in both chains, that number of hex required for T-share will change between the chains because it's based on the profitable stakes that are ending on that chain. And I think Pulse hex will actually ratchet up faster because there'll be certainly more activity. There won't be abandoned stakes on Pulse for the gas fee reasons, at least. There might be just because people forgot about them, but I would expect the number of Pulse hex per T-share required will go up faster than the ETH one for that reason. Example, 1,400 USD for one, 18,000. Yeah, that's what I was just saying there. Drady, ETH hex will be worth more. P hex will take a while to find price. I don't know, Drady. I've been saying I think that because of the gas and all the people that want to get in to crypto and hex, and they kind of want to put their toe in the water with, say, $1,000, but they don't want to pay $100 in ETH gas fees. I know right now it's not that high. Will embrace Pulse chain directly because there won't be that issue. So I think there might be actually more people running in on Pulse side than ETH, but I could see activity on ETH as well. So don't know. Maybe it will take a little while to ratchet up, but I can't imagine. There's so many people that are waiting to scoop up cheap Pulse hex. That's been said numerous times. I think it's not, if it does hit a very low price point, I don't expect it to sit there for long. I mean, within like an hour or less, it'll probably ratchet up. We'll see. Nagendra, sorry, correction on the second question. Which one do first, 50 hex p hex versus hex in your opinion? If p hex is launched at a penny, free p hex holders dump easy. It starts at low, e.g., 0.0001 hex p hex. Could 50x first? Well, yeah, I mean, to that point, yeah, if it was launched at a penny, it really depends on the mentality there. I don't think the mentality of most people in hex right now is to dump on initial launch. I'm sure there's some that would, but I think again it could go 50x either way. 50x from a penny would put us at some amazing all-time highs. And I think the only reason we see sell-off there is every 10-cent price point, the 10-cent one especially, because it's easier. It's a milestone price, and it's easy math in your head. That might trigger a lot of behavior where folks sell off. And obviously, from a much lower price point than a penny, you could go 50x no problem with a much lower amount of economic energy. But here's the thing. The economic energy to launch either one of those price points 50x is already in the system. So not sure. You might see, if you see some big sell-off, that's an opportunity to buy some super cheap p-hex, because look at this. There was a time, I remember after big payday, everybody was just jumping for joy in the streets over 1 penny hex. And then 2 penny hex on New Year's Eve, people about passed out in excitement. And now, if it went to 2 cents, people would be all panicky. So, and it isn't that long ago. So these penny price points to me, I want hex $1. Hex at $1, and we'll talk more about, splitting hairs. This stuff with, 1 cent, 10 cent, 3 cents, I think it's just a matter of where will it be in a year. And the 50x, easy call on either one of those, in my opinion. Dradi, P-Hex value has nothing to do with E-Hex. Correct. They are mutually exclusive. Aquila Tempeste, people will not perceive value of P-Hex as being unrelated to E-Hex. Well, the perception, right, but they will be exclusive to each other. Same asset, lower fees, higher upside. That's what I'm thinking there, Aquila. Yeah. Because people that I wanted to onboard that didn't get in over this past few months or during the mania phase since January of ETH, well, it was all because of the gas fees. And I don't blame them. They don't want to put in 20% of their stack into gas fees. Who would want to do that? I don't want to either. When Hex goes viral via the staking app, will it be the eHex app or the PHEX app? Latter one. I think they're going to combine them, Aquila. I think you'll have both chains. I don't know how it's going to be in the interface, but I'm sure they'll have both chains on there. Which one? I don't know. They'll probably oscillate back and forth initially, and then depending on how hard it is for people to move from assets from ETH chain to Pulse chain, for example, to buy Hex on Pulse chain. I don't know. People would tend to be lazy, so if they don't want to take that extra step, that might hold some back. But I don't think that'll be a gate for most people. Dradi, P-Hex will have many small stakes. E-Hex will be for big stakers for a long time. Yeah, definitely. The smaller stakes are going to be Pulse chain, no doubt about that. Benny Bills, I used to be more reserved, more shy, but then it dawned on me the hourglass is ticking away with every heartbeat. True, this is your life. You only have a small window to bring light to the world. Use it. Absolutely. Don't waste your time with people that don't benefit or that are there to bring you down. Don't waste time with those folks. Divorce all of them. You're better to have one good friend than 1,000 fake plebs, to surround yourself with. Aquila Tempeste, maybe I do expect both chains to continue performing. Absolutely, me too, Aquila. But I mean, you'll see oscillation at both chains at some point in time because there's other things that factor in here. There's crypto news in general. We saw this with China and India this week, and we'll see it again with other U.S. regulations. We'll see it with other FUD. We'll see it with other Elon or somebody. Maybe he launches a rocket to the Doge. The Doge rocket to the moon. Maybe Jeff Bezos brings a Doge dog with him or a Shiba dog on his rocket trip. Who knows, right? Things come through and change the space at a moment's notice, and then it recalibrates. Dradi, in my opinion, P-Hex will be gained more because of cheap fees. E-Hex because the fees will be for the big players. That might be too, Dradi. Oh, there's always going to be traders. You can't get away from that. In the first few years anyway. Yeah, I could agree with that. Certainly. I don't think trading is going to go away on PulseX. And to your point, because the fees will be so minuscule, it could encourage smaller bag holders to play that game. But we all know traders get wrecked. So just sit back and watch them eventually make a bad move and go right off the cliff. Benny Bills, I can't stress enough the importance of holding both hexes. Definitely. Dradi, that's why all the E-Hex, you get all the E-Hex you can now. Yeah, definitely. And again, you're getting that free copy to your point, Dradi, right. Benny Bills, not enough people are talking about getting in as many stakes as you can now because people, I think, Benny, are all just focused and fixated on sacrifice phase. I have noticed, though, that the Pulse chain chat in Telegram has gone way down in participation lately. I think people are kind of burned out waiting for this thing. So maybe it'll come up in the next week or two. I think it will start in July, but I don't have any other insight. That's pure speculation on my part. Dradi up. I do believe, based on what Richard said, there won't be very much downtime between the end of Sacrifice and the launch of Pulse Chain because it sounds like the Pulse Chain development is outflanking the Sacrifice phase development, ironically. So there's probably going to be, a very small gap, which I think would be great because one of the concerns I have is people get impatient. They're going to be excited for Sacrifice, and then they can't wait to see how many Pulse they're going to get, and then they're going to have sleepless nights. So if it's maybe just a month away or so between the two, that would be really cool. Maybe even less. Dave Morales. People usually post how much they love their significant other on Facebook after they messed up in some way, cheating on or whatever. Oh, absolutely, David. Absolutely. Every time you read that, how successful my life was and how great the wife is, and I'm always like, yeah, okay. A little bit suspicious on that one. I'm like, there's always an ulterior motive for posting those types of things. No, Tony, 7.887 cents. Vogel, hi, Peb. I'm late again. No worries, Vogel. At least you made it. I'm glad all you guys found it on Discourse. I was worried some people might just look for my other channel and see it not there today. I might be able to download this and upload it to that one as well. Hextoshi, the same amount of available supply of eHex at the time of launch that dupes over will make pHex USD climb fast, in my opinion. Very possible, Hextoshi. I think the fact that there's just so many. Here's the difference with pHex. When ETHEX launched, there was the adoption amplifier. Even all of us that were diehard, followers of Richard, who were like, hey, you know what, this guy's got something good to offer, I want to get in, had doubts because the hate and the FUD was so strong. We actually restrained ourselves at points, and I've heard a lot of the OG Hexicans talk about that as well. And looking into that, you say, okay, that's not the situation here. It's a polar opposite. Now you have people who cannot wait to ape into this thing. There's not going to be this skittish behavior of, well, I don't know if I want. No, people are going to say, oh my God, I can get it. I'm buy all I can. It's not going to be this, well, maybe I want to put $100. No, people are they're going to scoop up cheap pHex. That won't last long. So, any news from Richard about the start of the sacrifice period? Nothing that I've heard yet, Vogel. Just that he says it's going to be soon, but that's very subjective to what you think soon is. Quarter Panda, hey Big Pep, have you heard anything about ledger support for Pulse Chain and pHex? I have not, but again, Papa B follows that a lot closer than I do. You might want to ask him, Papa Boner, on Discourse or Telegram. He's always in the voice chat quite often. Kilo Tempeste, 90% stake though. New entrants especially should just stake majority, can't lose. Correct, Aquila. Totally agree. And with that, guys, I am caught up in chat, and we are an hour and 26 minutes. So I am going to go ahead and wrap up this stream. I appreciate everybody joining me on Discourse today. I see we have 110 viewers watching. I'll give the chat a couple more seconds if there's any other questions or comments you want me to speak to, and then we'll wrap up the show. But just to reiterate, the mentality around the situation we're in now, waiting for sacrifice, causes people to get anxious, and don't let your emotions control your behaviors. It's like poker with investing. Leave your emotions at the door, and having a mindset of at least what the minimum threshold is of value, USD value, you want to sacrifice into this phase, can help you put your mind at ease for when it starts. And if you've been scrambling to catch up, look, whatever you have available, unless you pissed it away on something else, you shouldn't have any regrets about it. Just go in what you can. Nobody's going to have, as much as they probably want, but that's okay. Just, if you're participating now, I think that the key takeaway is this: everybody in Hex now, and everybody that's in participating or going to participate in the sacrifice phase, are all early adopters. Even you guys that are getting in right now, and this is your first day to purchase Hex, you're still early because we're pre-viral. Most crypto people don't know about us. The ones that do hate us. It's gate kept. It's fudded. And ask anybody in the real world, even what they all know, maybe what Bitcoin is, but they certainly don't know anything about Hex. I can almost guarantee you could ask 100 people on the street, and nobody's going to have heard of this product. So keep that in mind. When Hex is a household name, like say Bitcoin is, then maybe we'll stabilize and we'll see some leveling off. Like, okay, we're past the FOMO, we're in the viral phase, and that's maybe tapered off, and we're at a more level increment in price and that kind of thing. Anyways, it's important to calmly speak facts. I sometimes fail this and get too emotional, but no one is perfect. That's my problem too, Benny. It's worked to my demise as well. Working on it every day, working to be better. Well, that's all you can do. Make each day a little improvement each day. If you improve yourself 1%, each day, and then that adds up pretty quick, and you're a whole new person in a short period of time. A little bit each day. It's like exercise. You work out daily, and you ratchet up, you increment the weights, small amounts. You don't throw an extra 100 pounds on the bench or in the squat rack or curls or whatever from what you were doing yesterday. You may have put in an extra 10 pounds or 5 pounds, whatever. You go up and gradually, and then over time, you get to where you want to be. When Pulse launches, Dante says, when Pulse launches, how do we get ETH into Pulse to buy more PHEX? You won't get ETH directly, Dante. You will have a pair on the ETH network that you can exchange for. And Richard posted this in the pinned messages. I don't remember what the actual symbol for it was, but there will be a pair that you can swap on ETH and move that token, if it's PHEX, PETH or whatever it is, over to the Pulse network, and then you can change with that one on the Pulse chain. So that's how you would do it. I don't believe you'll have a direct ETH on ramp because that's the substrate, and it's not going to work on there. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks again for showing up, and please smash the likes and subscribe to Big Pep on YouTube as well. And we will see you next week. Take care, everyone.